Hello, and welcome to this training program on the PDCA Cycle, presented by QGLOBAL Academy. PDCA stands for Plan, Do, Check, and Act. It is one of the most widely used approaches for achieving continuous improvement in organizations across every industry. Throughout this course, each phase of the cycle will be explored in detail, using practical examples, useful tools, and real-world applications. Welcome to QGLOBAL Academy. By the end of this training, participants will gain a comprehensive understanding of the topic, learn practical implementation techniques, explore industry best practices, review real-world case studies, and build greater professional competence and confidence. A course completion certificate is available upon request. For certificate eligibility, enrollment details, and additional learning opportunities, please visit our website or contact us using the information provided. To stay connected with QGLOBAL Academy, visit www.qglobalacademy.com or email info@qglobal.in. Let's begin the learning journey and take the next step toward professional excellence. By the end of this training session, several important learning outcomes will be achieved. First, there will be a clear understanding of the concept, principles, and importance of the PDCA cycle. Next, each of the 4 phases, plan, do, check, and act, will be explained in detail. The course will also describe how PDCA contributes to continuous improvement across different types of organizations. Practical examples will demonstrate how the PDCA cycle can be applied in everyday work situations. Important tools and techniques that support each phase will also be introduced, making implementation easier and more effective. Finally, the course will discuss both the benefits and the common challenges associated with implementing PDCA successfully. By completing this session, the knowledge gained can be applied immediately to improve workplace performance and achieve sustainable results. PDCA is a simple yet powerful management method that helps organizations achieve continuous improvement in a structured and systematic way. It is an iterative cycle, meaning it repeats continuously rather than being performed only once. The 4 phases are plan, do, check, and act. During the cycle, problems are identified, solutions are implemented, results are evaluated, and successful improvements are standardized. Each completed cycle creates valuable learning opportunities. Those lessons become the starting point for the next cycle, allowing performance to improve over time. This approach is widely used in manufacturing, healthcare, laboratories, service industries, education, and many other sectors. PDCA also forms the foundation of several international management system standards, including ISO 9001. The key message is simple. PDCA is not a one-time project. It is a continuous improvement loop that supports innovation, efficiency, and organizational excellence. Organizations use PDCA because it creates a culture of continuous improvement in a structured manner, instead of relying on guesswork. PDCA also improves performance by measuring results and identifying areas where efficiency, productivity, and quality can be enhanced. Another important benefit is risk reduction. Through proper planning and regular evaluation, potential problems can be identified early, reducing errors, waste, and rework. As processes improve, customer satisfaction also increases. Better products and services naturally lead to better customer experiences. PDCA also improves operational efficiency by optimizing the use of resources and eliminating unnecessary activities. Finally, the cycle aligns daily operational activities with long-term business objectives, helping organizations achieve strategic goals more effectively. Overall, PDCA enables organizations to adapt to change, improve performance, and maintain operational excellence. The plan phase is the foundation of the entire PDCA cycle. Everything begins by identifying a problem or recognizing an opportunity for improvement. The current situation is then studied carefully. Data is collected, root causes are analyzed, and the reasons behind the problem are understood. Based on this analysis, clear and measurable objectives are established. An action plan is then developed to describe what needs to be done, who will perform the activities, when they should be completed, and what resources will be required. Roles and responsibilities are also assigned to ensure accountability. The main objective of this phase is to fully understand the problem, identify improvement opportunities, establish realistic goals, and prepare for successful implementation. Remember, a well-developed plan saves time during execution and greatly increases the chances of achieving successful results. The first step in planning is identifying the right problem or opportunity. If the wrong problem is selected, even the best solution may fail to deliver meaningful improvement. Begin by clearly defining the problem and understanding its impact. Look for gaps between current performance and the desired results. Listen to customers, employees, suppliers, and other stakeholders to gather different perspectives. Use data rather than assumptions. Trends, recurring issues, and performance records provide valuable evidence. Focus on problems that significantly affect quality, cost, delivery, safety, or customer satisfaction. At the same time, look for opportunities that can improve efficiency, reduce lead time, or add value. Useful tools include the fishbone diagram for identifying possible causes, the Pareto chart for prioritizing major issues, check sheets for collecting data, and scatter diagrams for studying relationships between variables. Always ask questions such as, what is happening? Where is it happening? Who is affected? How often does it occur? And why is it important? A clearly defined problem leads to focused planning and effective solutions. Before implementing any action, it is important to understand the risks involved. Risk assessment helps identify uncertainties that could affect successful implementation. The process starts by identifying potential risks. Each risk is then analyzed to determine the likelihood of occurrence and the possible impact on the organization. Based on this evaluation, risks are prioritized so that attention can be focused on the most significant ones. Finally, appropriate control measures are planned to reduce or eliminate those risks. Potential risk sources can include people, equipment, processes, materials, environmental conditions, suppliers, and information. The objective is not to eliminate every possible risk, but to manage risks effectively so that improvement activities can proceed with confidence. A good risk assessment increases the likelihood of success while reducing unexpected problems during implementation. Now that the problem has been identified and the key performance indicators, or KPIs, that will measure success, objectives tell us what we want to achieve, while KPIs tell us how success will be measured. The process begins by defining a broad business goal. This goal is then converted into specific and measurable objectives. Next, suitable KPIs are selected. Realistic targets are established, and finally, progress is monitored and reviewed regularly. Good objectives should follow the SMART principle. They should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. The examples on this slide show how different business goals can be converted into measurable KPIs, such as customer complaint rate, operating cost reduction, on-time delivery, workplace safety, and employee engagement. When selecting KPIs, keep them simple and meaningful. Focus on only a few important indicators instead of measuring everything. Ensure the data is reliable, review the results regularly, and use KPIs to support decision-making and continual improvement. Clear objectives provide direction, while KPIs help measure progress and drive better performance. Once objectives and KPIs have been established, the next step is developing an effective action plan. Action planning converts ideas into practical activities. It clearly defines what will be done, who will do it, when it will be completed, how it will be carried out, and what resources will be required. The action planning process begins by reviewing the objectives, KPIs, identified risks, and priorities. Next, all required actions are listed. Responsibilities are assigned so that every activity has a clear owner. Timelines and due dates are established, and the necessary resources are allocated. Finally, implementation progress is monitored, and the plan is updated whenever required. The key questions shown on the right side of the slide help create a complete action plan. Ask what needs to be done, why it is important, who is responsible, when it should be completed, how it will be performed, what resources are required, how progress will be measured, and what risks or contingency plans should be considered. The example illustrates how objectives, KPIs, timelines, responsibilities, resources, and success criteria are combined into one practical implementation plan. A good action plan bridges the gap between planning and successful execution. After completing the planning activities, the PDCA cycle moves into the do phase. This is where the plan is put into action. The primary purpose of this phase is to execute all planned activities according to the approved action plan. The main activities include implementing planned actions, providing the necessary resources, training personnel, following documented procedures, maintaining records, and monitoring implementation progress. Successful execution depends on several important factors. Clear communication ensures everyone understands their responsibilities. Competent personnel perform activities correctly and consistently. Adequate resources, including equipment, materials, and information, support smooth implementation. Effective supervision helps identify issues early and keeps activities on track. The success of the do phase depends not only on completing tasks, but also on executing them correctly, consistently, and according to the plan. Successful implementation begins with effective communication. Everyone involved should clearly understand the objectives, activities, responsibilities, and expected outcomes. The implementation process starts by communicating the plan to all relevant personnel. Responsibilities are then assigned so that every task has a clearly identified owner. The required resources are provided before work begins. The planned activities are then executed according to approved procedures. During implementation, records are maintained to provide evidence of the work performed. Progress is monitored continuously to identify any delays or deviations. Several good practices should always be followed during implementation. Follow established procedures, meet planned timelines, resolve issues as soon as they arise, maintain accurate records, and ensure quality and safety throughout the process. Remember, successful implementation transforms planning into measurable results through disciplined execution and continuous monitoring. Every successful improvement project depends on having the right resources available at the right time. Resource management ensures that people, equipment, facilities, finances, and information are available whenever they are needed. The first resource category is people. Competent and properly trained personnel are essential for successful implementation. The second category is equipment, including tools, machines, instruments, and technology. Infrastructure includes buildings, utilities, information systems, and workplace facilities that support operations. The project also requires an appropriate budget to fund planned activities. Finally, accurate information, including procedures, records, and data, supports informed decision-making. Resource management follows a simple cycle. First, identify the required resources. Next, allocate them based on priorities. Then provide them where needed, use them effectively, monitor utilization, and continuously improve resource efficiency. Good resource management minimizes delays, reduces waste, and increases the likelihood of successful implementation. Documentation provides consistency, while effective training ensures that personnel understand exactly how work should be performed. Documentation standardizes activities across the organization. It provides evidence of completed work, ensures consistency, and supports compliance with organizational and regulatory requirements. Common documents used during implementation include procedures, work instructions, forms, checklists, and training records. Training builds employee competence and confidence. It ensures that personnel understand new processes, perform activities correctly, and apply the planned improvements consistently. Together, documentation and training reduce variation, improve quality, and create a strong foundation for continual improvement. Well-documented processes combined with well-trained personnel consistently produce better organizational results. Before implementing a major change across the entire organization, it is often beneficial to conduct a pilot implementation. A pilot is a small-scale trial that allows the organization to evaluate the proposed solution before full deployment. The pilot process begins by selecting a suitable area or department. The planned changes are then implemented within that limited scope. Feedback is collected from the people involved, and the results are carefully evaluated. Based on the findings, necessary improvements are made before the solution is rolled out throughout the organization. Pilot implementation offers several important benefits. It reduces implementation risk, identifies potential problems at an early stage, minimizes unnecessary costs, and builds confidence among employees before full-scale implementation. Testing first and improving before full deployment significantly increases the chances of long-term success. After implementation comes the check phase. The purpose of this phase is to determine whether the implemented actions achieved the planned objectives. This is accomplished by collecting data, measuring performance, and comparing actual results with the expected targets. Any differences between planned and actual performance are identified and analyzed. Performance monitoring may include KPIs, process measurements, customer feedback, inspection results, audit findings, or other objective evidence. The check phase is not about assigning blame. Instead, it focuses on learning from the results and understanding what worked well and what requires further improvement. Reliable data and objective analysis provide the information needed to make effective decisions during the next phase of the PDCA cycle. Now that performance data has been collected, the next step is to analyze it. Data analysis helps convert raw information into meaningful insights that support better decisions. The purpose of this activity is to understand performance, identify trends, and determine whether the implemented changes are producing the expected results. Begin by reviewing the available data. Compare actual performance with the planned objectives and KPIs established during the plan phase. Look for variations between expected and actual results. Even small variations can indicate opportunities for improvement. Next, identify the root causes behind any gaps. Rather than treating symptoms, focus on understanding why the difference occurred. Data analysis also helps identify performance gaps and discover opportunities for further improvement. Continuous improvement depends on learning from facts rather than assumptions. Several tools can support this process. A Pareto chart helps identify the few issues responsible for most problems. Trend charts show performance over time. Control charts help determine process stability. Fishbone diagrams assist in root cause analysis, while histograms help understand data distribution. Remember the message at the bottom of the slide. Analyze, understand, decide, and improve. Data-driven decisions lead to better results. After checking the results, we move to the final stage of the PDCA cycle, the ACT phase. The purpose of this phase is to take action based on the findings from the check phase. The goal is to sustain successful improvements and continue the journey of continual improvement. The first activity is to correct problems that were identified during evaluation. Next, improve the process by implementing corrective actions wherever needed. If the solution has proven effective, it should be standardized so that everyone follows the same improved method. The organization should then update procedures, work instructions, forms, and other documented information to reflect the improved process. Finally, begin the next PDCA cycle. Continuous improvement never stops. Every completed cycle creates opportunities for even better performance. The decision flow shown on the right is simple. Ask one important question. Was the implementation successful? If the answer is yes, standardize the improvement. If the answer is no, correct the issues and continue improving until the objectives are achieved. Remember, every cycle builds on the previous one and helps the organization become more effective over time. Corrective actions focus on eliminating the causes of problems so that they do not happen again. The objective is simple. prevent recurrence instead of repeatedly correcting the same issue. The corrective action process begins by identifying the nonconformity. Clearly define what went wrong and gather the necessary evidence. Next, determine the root cause using appropriate problem-solving tools, such as the 5 whys or fishbone diagram. Once the cause has been identified, develop an action plan that addresses the real problem rather than the symptoms. The planned actions are then implemented according to the defined responsibilities and timelines. After implementation, verify the effectiveness of the corrective action. Confirm that the problem has been eliminated and that similar issues are not likely to occur again. Finally, close the corrective action once sufficient evidence demonstrates that the solution is effective. An effective corrective action not only resolves today's issue, but also strengthens the entire process for the future. When an improvement has been proven successful, it should become the organization's new standard. Standardization ensures that successful improvements are maintained and applied consistently throughout the organization. The first step is to update all relevant documented information. This includes procedures, work instructions, checklists, training materials, and forms. Once documentation has been updated, follow the standardization cycle shown on the right side of the slide. Begin by implementing the improvement. Assign responsibilities to ensure ownership. Update documentation so everyone follows the same process. Provide training so personnel understand the new requirements. Implement the standardized process across the organization. Finally, continue monitoring performance to verify that the improvement is sustained. The result is a new best practice that improves consistency, reduces variation, and supports continual improvement. Even though the PDCA cycle is simple, several common mistakes can reduce its effectiveness. During the plan phase, organizations sometimes define problems poorly, set unrealistic objectives, or skip proper risk assessment. During the do phase, common mistakes include poor communication, inadequate training, and missing documentation. Without proper implementation, even the best plans may fail. During the check phase, organizations may ignore important data, fail to analyze performance objectively, or overlook internal audit results. This prevents accurate evaluation. During the act phase, some organizations fail to implement corrective actions, neglect to standardize successful improvements, or repeat the same mistakes because lessons were not learned. The key message at the bottom of the slide is very important. PDCA succeeds only when every phase is completed effectively and the cycle continues without interruption. Skipping one phase weakens the entire improvement process. Let's look at a practical example of applying PDCA to an employee competence management program. In the plan phase, the organization identifies competency gaps, defines training objectives, develops a competency framework, and prepares training and assessment plans. During the do phase, competency assessments are conducted, training programs are delivered, coaching and mentoring activities are implemented, and employee skills begin to improve. Next comes the check phase. Training effectiveness is evaluated by reviewing assessment results, monitoring job performance, collecting employee feedback, and measuring improvements against competency requirements. Finally, in the act phase, competency matrices are updated, successful training practices are standardized, future development plans are prepared, and continual improvement opportunities are identified. The results are clear. Employee competence improves, standardized processes are established, productivity increases, and the organization develops a sustainable competency management system. This example demonstrates how PDCA can strengthen workforce capability through systematic planning, implementation, evaluation, and improvement. Now let's see how PDCA is applied in a manufacturing environment. The problem in this example is a high defect rate during product inspection. During the plan phase, production data is analyzed, root causes are identified, measurable quality objectives are established, and improvement plans are prepared. In the do phase, machine settings are adjusted, operators receive training, work instructions are updated, and preventive maintenance activities are introduced. The check phase focuses on measuring defect rates, reviewing inspection records, analyzing process capability, and verifying whether product quality has improved. In the act phase, successful improvements are standardized, procedures are updated, best practices are shared across production lines, and monitoring continues. The result is reduced defects, improved product quality, lower rework costs, and more consistent manufacturing performance. This example shows how PDCA helps organizations solve production problems through structured and data-driven improvement. PDCA is equally valuable in software development. Suppose frequent software bugs are affecting customer satisfaction. During the plan phase, project requirements are analyzed, defects are reviewed, objectives are established, and development plans are prepared. In the do phase, coding standards are implemented, peer reviews are conducted, automated testing is introduced, and developers follow defined procedures. During the check phase, software performance is measured by reviewing defect density, monitoring test coverage, evaluating customer feedback, and analyzing release performance. Finally, the act phase updates development procedures, strengthens the continuous integration and deployment pipeline, improves coding standards, and prepares the next software release. The outcome includes fewer software defects, faster releases, improved customer satisfaction, and a stronger software development process. This example illustrates that the PDCA cycle can be successfully applied in both manufacturing and service industries. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. If you learned something new today, we'd really appreciate your support. Please give this video a like, share it with your friends or colleagues, and don't forget to subscribe to the QGLOBAL Academy channel. It helps us reach more learners and continue creating quality training content just like this. Looking to learn even more? Visit www.QGlobalAcademy.com to explore our latest courses, certification programs, and professional development resources. If you have any questions, we'd love to hear from you. Just send us an email at info@qglobal.in.